Hi, my name's Ms Howard and I'm going to speak to you about the food preparation and nutrition GCSE for your Year 8 options. I'm going to first of all speak to you about the final assessment, just so you have an understanding of kind of where you're kind of moving towards. It's separate from all the other design and technology subjects. So before we were kind of within the same bubble, but we're not anymore. So now we can kind of have the full amount of time to really delve into the new specification. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at the preparation skills, and they are kind of within 5 different areas. So there's food, nutrition and health, there's food science, food safety, food choice, and food provenance. So you can see the links that there are to other subjects. So there's lots of science going on in there, lots of PE we've had links with as well in there. So it's not just a kind of island subject, and it's not just about cooking and sort of what happens in the kitchen. It's what happens within food as a whole, okay, to our bodies, food coming in, all of that kind of stuff, which I'll go through in a little bit more detail. In Year 11, there is an exam to cover all of the theory, so a written exam for 1 hour 45 minutes, and that's worth 50% of your final GCSE. The other 50% is built with your sort of your NEA, your coursework element, I suppose. Okay, and there are 2 tasks that are in that. One is a food investigation task, so we will be given a particular ingredient, so it could be eggs, it could be how to thicken sauces, and what you will have to do independently is you will work out an investigation that you are going to undertake, and then you're going to do some practical investigations and you will be writing that up. That is about 1,500 to 2,000 word kind of assignment, I suppose, of your findings. Then you've got your larger piece of coursework, which is worth 70 marks, okay? And that's a written or electronic portfolio where you will be researching some different sort of, I suppose they're tasks, design briefs that you can choose. So we have had kind of, including more ironing a diet. This year we've got a street food one from the exam board. So the children are looking at how they can embrace that element, embrace that design brief, and then they've got to, again, do their research, plan their dishes, potential dishes first of all, then they have to develop them, and they come up, your final piece is a 3-hour cook in the kitchen, independent, where you cook 3 different dishes. And then you would present all your findings. But again, it's about a 20-page A4-sided kind of document that you'll be producing of all your research, your investigations, your final cooks, your sensory analysis stuff, your taste testing. So again, lots of written work within that final portfolio. The areas that we kind of cover, so the areas of interest within the kind of course, there's the methods of production that we will cover. We've done cheese making in the past. We've looked at dairy and dairy alternatives, pastry making, personal profiling and different sort of the needs of different kinds of people. So whether it's sort of vegetarians or whether it's athletes going on there, trying to experiment with different flavors. So being open is really important. It's not just about sort of making what you would make at home. It's trying to think about how we can incorporate different things and different foods that have come into this country for various reasons. Healthy eating, very big thing there. Okay, presentation, making things. We have our 5 senses. One of them sight. What does that dish look like? Why is it going to be appealing to me? So there's lots of kind of the theory that we kind of cover within those areas. And then your final dishes. So these are some examples of some last year, 2 years ago, kind of final dishes. So you can see they've incorporated lots of that. So there's lots of presentation skills in there. We've got we've had people coming in before teaching the children how to sort of fillet fish and things like that, which is quite exciting. And all of these dishes would be really, really tailored to a particular design brief and a particular person that they needed to design for. In Year 9 and 10, so what we kind of have is, as you can see on the sort of sides, we've got lots of resources for you, okay? So we have kind of projects, we've got writing frames to start getting you to understand and think how, for these bigger pieces, the NEA 1 task I'm currently doing with one of the classes. So I've created a writing frame so they can start to understand how they get the grades, how they get the marks, and how to improve. So lots of feedback and guidance, but we need you to respond to that. So for about 3/4 of the sessions within our units, it's going to be theory work, whether that's written work, whether that's book work, whether that's taking things from different video sources that we're looking at, and you will be kind of making your own notes and going into a little bit of kind of your personal investigation. For the other quarter, it's going to be your practical. So that's where you can see the theory that you've been covering kind of come to life. So the dishes will be related to the topic that you are covering. Okay, you get given recipes. So we've been giving kind of recipes out to all of our Key Stage 4 children. But again, there'll be times where you'll start to tweak it and change it to make it a little bit more bespoke, perhaps to your client or to you. We really need to make it clear that it's not a sort of optional, oh, you don't eat that, I don't eat a chili, so I'm not going to make it. There's obviously changes we can do with sort of dietary requirements, but it's getting you to understand the skills to make different dishes, to work with different ingredients, and actually to broaden that sense of flavours and understanding that different sort of cultural influences we have within the country. So it's not a sort of opt out, I'm not going to cook this tonight. These are some of our current Key Stage 4 children's dishes we've got going on. So at the bottom, they're the things that we've been doing in school when we were here. Okay, so there was a cultural project that we've got going on. There was just in the introduction to the food room, making fish cakes. It's not just all sorts of cakes. I know there's a couple of them there, but there's lots of kind of savoury dishes as well. And our Key Stage 4 kids have embraced cooking in lockdown. So the images at the top, at the start, I gave them loads of recipes and made sure everyone was safe at home, all of that kind of stuff. But then we really encourage the children to cook, because that is the enjoyable part. I know we've got the theory and we've been doing an incredible amount of that as well. But it's that in sort of that kind of enjoyment within the kitchen, and that sort of celebrating that with your families. So I think that's, food is a joy. So it's to be have and shared with others. So we do that in the class setting. We will do taste testing. We do sensory analysis where we discuss different things together. And so we also really, really encourage cooking at home, but also our kids have absolutely done wonderful jobs in lockdown. Lots of enrichment opportunities in the past. We'll see how this pandemic allows us to do going forward. So we've had the Chef's Roadshow, so someone coming from Colchester College to come and give us some sort of real kind of in-depth chef sort of skill level stuff that our children could have watched. We've had trips to Fairfield Crisps, the Fairfield Farm, where we've seen actually how they've been produced. We have had the Christmas fair here in the past where the children have been given a very tight sort of like client that they're going to have to make for. They're obviously going to have to think about kind of best before dates and stuff like that. But it was a real life thing, and it was a sort of a business adventure, I suppose, for them as well. This is how much the ingredients cost. We had to cover that. Then if there was a profit, what could the children decide that they wanted to kind of move forward with? You are expected to bring in your own ingredients, okay? Weighed, ready. Not a co-op stop on the way in, because that's always a little bit problematic. So it is that organised sort of pupil we are kind of advising, this is good for you. That kind of openness that this is what we're cooking, this is when. So we share all that information well in advance so people can plan what they need to do. There's also, as I said before, it's not all cooking, incredible theory. There's also a theory book that we recommend that the children get, because that's really good for the core theory. That's good for the practice questions, the keywords, lots of stuff in there. It's only one book that covers the full 3 years. As I said before, lots of strong links with other subjects. So it's trying to think about how that would kind of link with your other options, which is really good. But remember, this is a really heavy coursework subject, so you also have to take that on board. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask any of your technology teachers, but also you can email myself, choward@honeywoodschool.com. Okay, thank you.